On this episode of Spill the Tea with LLIB, we have the wonderful Katie Blackledge. So can you share with us and our listeners more about your business and the unique aspects that set it apart?
Okay, yeah, so I'm a mortgage advisor, a mortgage and protection advisor, and I've been running for 5 years. And the reason I came about and why I feel that I stand out from the crowd a little bit is because I used to work for a corporate company. And through the years, the corporate company were all about the figures and it was all about the number. And I was more about the client and the customer because I feel that that's more important for the journey. So I wanted to set up on my own and to make sure that my customer was my number one focus because I felt that that was lacking in the corporate world, or it was coming away from that in the corporate world. So that's why I feel that I set myself apart, because everything I do, I think of my customer as their priority, and to make sure that their journey is as easy and smooth as it can be in the mortgage world. Obviously, it's not always as easy and smooth.
Definitely not.
But I do try and help as best I can through that, and make them feel special, but make them feel that I understand what they're going through as well, because it is probably one of the most scariest things that you'll do.
Yeah, really challenging, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are some of the biggest challenges people face around mortgages?
There's a number. It depends on your circumstances. A lot of it's affordability, because obviously house prices have increased. Salaries haven't necessarily gone up at the speed of house prices. There's a lot of self-employed clients. And again, in terms of their income and how to get them the best mortgage possible, find that. And then obviously adverse. Sometimes clients have missed payments, not necessarily through fault of their own. And things like that can be challenging for the client and for me in terms of placing them with the right lender. So it's just, it's understanding the client to the best of my ability to be able to obviously make it as easy a journey as possible for them, really.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
How can people put themselves in a really good position then for, if they were thinking about buying or starting that property journey? What would be some good advice that you could give them around that?
So first things first, if you're thinking, I always suggest speak to an advisor as soon as you start thinking about it, because everybody's circumstances is different. But I would always recommend, if you've got credit, make sure you don't exceed your credit limits, make sure you don't sort of miss any payments. That's like a big no-no. In terms of like overdraft, staying out of your overdraft, making sure you don't do loads of betting, and just keeping obviously all your bank statements as clear as possible. In terms of your occupation, ideally don't change your job or look to change your job within a period of trying to get a mortgage. Ideally, obviously, having a mortgage or having a stable career obviously helps with the income in terms of the mortgage lenders. They will accept if you do want to change career, but it's not advisable. And it's just obviously saving as much money as you can. There is a lot of people that worry about on the bank statements that they go shopping, like first-time buyers, like girls go and buy loads of clothes. They don't necessarily look at that, because it's obviously once you get a mortgage that you will rein that in a little bit. So people do panic about that, but you don't need to just, cut back completely, but just...
There you go.
That's the best advice for today.
There you go.
Just don't go over your overdraft.
Not need to cut back.
A little bit maybe, but it's not as, clients come to me and say, oh, I won't buy anything. And it's like, you can still live, you can still do honest. Things. It's just, if you're a first time buyer, you're likely to go out for dinner more, you're likely to buy more things, because obviously when you buy your property, you'll be spending that money on your property and the things for the home. So that I would say.
Absolutely.
That really.
So what inspired you to venture into property and mortgages?
I kind of fell into it really. I left university and I was in travel, and a girl actually said to me, oh, there's a job here as an estate agent, why don't you apply for that? And I was like, well, all right, then I will, because I was in that mode where I was like, I'll just apply for these things and see what I get. And I got the estate agency job, and I worked in estate agency for 5 years. So I was a sales negotiator, marketing advisor and a manager. And then I kind of took a step back a little bit because, and I went sideways to recruitment. And then my old mortgage advisor at the time, she rang me because she'd been promoted. And we were having a chat, and I said, oh, if you ever need a mortgage advisor, give me a shout. Just joking, it was like tongue-in-cheek sort of thing. And then the day after, she rang and said, would you like to come back? And I thought, well, it's another qualification. And I'd done the estate agency and I really enjoyed that. So I said, yeah, all right, then I'll come back. And then the rest is history. That was like 15 years ago. So I've been in property and mortgages for like nearly 20 years. So yeah, that's how I fell upon it really. it wasn't a career that I'd always aspired to be a mortgage advisor or to be in property, but I've loved it, and every day is a different day, and it's really good.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what do you find most fulfilling about the work that you do?
Helping clients when they've been told no elsewhere. I've had a client, he completed on Friday actually, and him and his partner had separated, and he'd gone back to his previous mortgage advisor who said, oh, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do, you know, you're not going to be able to do it. And he came to me, and granted, there was only one lender that could do it, but I've managed to sort it out for him. And he left me a testimonial, and it was probably one of the most heartwarming testimonials I've ever had. And I just thought that is exactly why I do my job, because it's for people that struggle or people that don't think they'll be able to get the mortgage that I can, you know, ring them up and say, I've got it. And then I sort of hold the hand all the way through till they actually either move in or obviously it completes. And that is like my job satisfaction, being able to, like, when people just are excited and happy that I've sorted them out.
Yeah. And it's such an unknown entity, isn't it? You know, for the normal person, all the jargon around it, and I think people deliberately make finance and that sort of thing really difficult to understand, so that people are really put off by it, and they go, "Oh God, you know, that's not for me."
Yeah.
But it's not as difficult as people make out, is it? You know, once you understand some of that jargon and the world that exists in.
Exactly. Yeah. I was talking to somebody over there before, and I said to them, I look after them. I know how stressful it is, and I know how worried people are. So I ring them and say, don't panic. Like, you just need to breathe. Everything's going to be fine. I handhold them all the way through it. And the jargon, like you mentioned, I speak to them. I don't baffle them with the jargon. I baffle them with what they need to know, which is what they're going to be paying, how long they're going to have the mortgage for, and all the information that they only need to know. Because if I started talking about the Bank of England rate and then swap rates and other things, they'd be just like, what are you talking about?
Overwhelming.
And yeah, it is overwhelming. So as I tell them what they want to know or what they need to know, and then obviously if they've got any further questions, I'll happily help them. But I do try and make it as easy or the easiest process possible, because it's a lot and it can be very stressful. So
I feel like in life I don't need very much hand holding, but when it comes to our home and mortgage, definitely 100% hold both of them.
Yeah. No, I've got a client as well at the minute. In fact, I met her at one of your events, and she rang me last week and she said, I'm so glad I've got you, because I've not even done her mortgage yet. She's only just sold her house and she's dealing with a local estate agent. And because I've got that background knowledge as well, I can be saying, right, you need to ask them this, you need to tell them that, you need to do this. And she's like, I don't know what I'd do without you. I don't, where would I go? What would I do? And again, that makes me, because I work on my own, I don't have anybody saying, oh, actually, you do a good job, or, you know, you could do improvement here. So when people actually ring me and say things like that, it does give me that, oh, I must be doing all right. I must be doing something right.
Yeah. And I think it's really important, isn't it, that in those moments we take a little moment to write down what the person said and keep it in a little happy folder.
Yeah.
Because we're very, very quick as people, as women, to hear about all the negatives and the things that we haven't done or the things that we haven't managed that
and
day.
Hold on to them.
And and remember those things. And I think if we can have a little happy folder of all the lovely things that people say, and when we're feeling a bit rubbishy or we've beaten ourselves up that day with all the negatives, to take out the happy folder and go, oh, this person said that. This person, remember when I helped that person. That is so needed, isn't it? You know, so needed.
Yeah, definitely. Especially like if a client doesn't use you, or for whatever reason you think, why, what have I done, or why? And then I spiral then, and I just think, oh no. And then, but like you say, if you look at those reviews again, you think, well, actually, no, I do a good job. It's you can't win everybody, can you? You can't help everybody. But if you take on to the positives, that just keeps pushing you forward.
Yeah. So what do you find the biggest challenge as a woman in business at the moment?
Oh, especially in financial business, and being a woman.
Wow.
And that, I don't know.
That's sad, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And I think one of the reasons why I left the corporate world was I wanted to be promoted, and I wanted to be like more of a manager and a regional manager. and I'm not saying it was because I was female, but I always felt that I was never good enough. And I was never going to be good enough. It didn't matter what I did to try and prove myself. It was, you're just not there yet. And it's like, well, why am I not just there? Why am I not doing, I'm no worse off than that person, but I'm just not ready. And I think, again, being a woman, in terms of, do you know what you're talking about? Have you got the experience? And I'd like to think, I'm seeing more and more people on LinkedIn, and obviously here, there's more powerful women coming through. And I think that it's, as long as people keep singing from the rooftops, that, women in business leading the way.
And I think, that side of, you're not ready. We see that on CVs, don't we? And we were in a funding meeting a few months ago, and they were saying there was some real heavy stats around men who, and this isn't a man bashing exercise at all, but there was CVs that were put out, and it was saying women will only apply for a role if they can do 100% of the things on the required and would be nice to have, whereas men would only have to see 40% of things on that like job spec, say, to apply for that role, and then be like, yeah, I could do that. Yeah, 100%. Where women will go, oh God, well, no, they want that, and that. So I won't even try. And, and it's not that we're not as qualified. It's that, we see things a bit differently. And I think age old of that, well, you're not quite ready yet. Had it been slightly different, and it could have been you saying, tell me the 3 things that I need to do to be ready. Yeah. And going back in that confident state. But as soon as you hear you're not ready, you go, oh God, I'm not ready. They see that I'm not ready, and you take it on, don't you?
Yeah.
And I remember when I was teaching, had been asked to do this job in school, that someone was going off on maternity leave, and they were going to go, and they were on a TLR post, which was more money, and it was to organise trips and things. And I was asked as career progression to go and do that role, but for none of the pay. And I was like, yeah, okay. And it was sort of put to me that if I did the role and if I got the experience, that when the job came up, I would step into that role. So sure enough, the job did come up about 6 months later, and it was like, oh, you can't just have the job though, because that wouldn't be fair. Even though I'd done the job for 6 months on no pay, that wouldn't have been fair. So it was going to go out to general sort of staff. All staff could apply for it, and people were going to apply, and it had to go to interview process. So that's what happened. And I sat in the interview, did what I thought was an incredible interview, and that wasn't to blow smoke up, anywhere. But I was quite good at, speaking it. I had experience of the role. I'd been doing it. There'd been no issue with the role. I'd implemented a fair few new things that were great and made things easier. And at that interview, I didn't get the job because my heart wasn't in it. And I was like, I've done the job for 6 months, not paid, like as an additional, but how can my heart not be in it?
Imagine that feedback. How did they know?
I know. And I was just like, oh, right, okay.
You just take that.
Yeah, that's fine. And I was heartbroken. And so it happens to women over and over and over and over again, doesn't it? Oh, never mind, not this time, don't worry. And we just go, all right, okay, yeah. And you feel a little bit stupid, and you just get on and go again, don't you? For the next person to take a bit of advantage, really.
Yeah. Well, that's why I said, you know what, if I'm never going to be good enough for you, I need to do something for myself. Because I was getting to the point where it was, I was getting depressed. The fact that I was trying these different things and I wasn't succeeding in terms of the career path that I thought I wanted to go on. So I thought, well, if I'm not good enough for them, I'm going to give it a go on my own. And at that point I was like, well, if it's now or never. So I'd take the jump and hope for the best. And my other half said, look, you're not happy where you are, just do it. So I was like, okay, and I jumped, and here I am, and the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah,
absolutely the best thing I've ever done.
Not the easiest thing you've ever done.
Absolutely not. No,
but the best thing.
Yeah. Going self-employed is like starting a new job, and the 100%. Biggest, like a class, it's like a big one, a roller coaster. Yeah. You think you know everything about your job and everything. It's great, and then you set off and you think, what have I done?
Yeah.
What have
on a
I
daily
done?
basis.
Yeah, and
What
every
have I
day is a
done?
school day.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And every day you sort of start on the little roller coaster and then you go,
Yeah.
and then you sort of go a little bit,
Try again tomorrow.
Yeah.
So if you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
In a professional capacity, I suppose, being helpful and looking after clients, and making sure that they're my number one priority and that I've got a good reputation, because I know some mortgage advisors don't come with the best.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd like to be known for.
Yeah.
And then I suppose on the friend side, a bit crazy and a bit ditzy, and because that's what I am on behind the scenes. I'm very professional when I need to be, and then I take my hat off, and then I'm a little bit crazy.
But not your horsey hat.
No, not my horsey
The
hat.
horsey hat.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Didn't know there was a horse hat.
Yeah, I've got two horsey hats. Well, I've got one, but I've got two horses. Yeah,
I got that.
that's because you follow me.
I know. I love it. I love it. It gives me joy to see you with the horses. It really, really
That's
does.
a full-time job in itself, though,
is.
isn't it?
Yeah, it
Having
is.
2 horses.
Yeah, I don't have children. They are my children.
Yeah.
So I'm there
I
morning,
think they're
noon and
almost
night.
harder than children, though, aren't they? Because there isn't like
They
a
don't answer
holiday
back,
that you take
Cal.
them on. They're not on a plane with you, are they?
No.
You know, going to Tenerife or wherever.
No, they're very expensive, and
Can't answer back.
No, they can't now. But they do give a swift kick.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
in fact, one of my mare yesterday, just to divert, my friend fed her, or my friend's partner fed her. He doesn't know she has this thing of just barging you out of the way, and he opened the stable door. She went straight out the stable door. He's 6 foot, this guy. He clung hold of her. She dragged him up the path to the field, because it was her day out, regardless of the snow, and she was going to the field, and she dragged him with her. And so she's a firecracker.
Well, he's off the list now for feeding duties, isn't he?
He said, I'm never going in there again.
Yeah.
Oh, we
There's
had
another
so
one
many
gone.
horses like that on our field. You just couldn't go out unless this horse was taken in first, because you'd go to get your horse and the horse would chase you to not get your horse.
Yeah.
So one of the girls used to have to come and get it
Pretty
first.
terrifying way.
My Tink was brilliant to get in. You'd be like, Tink, and she'd just come to the gate. She was amazing. However, this one time I got Katy Perry tickets, and I didn't go after work, and I wasn't bringing her in, and somebody else did it, because it is a nice community, isn't it?
Yes,
as well,
it
you
is,
all do
yeah.
support one another. I do miss that a lot. She wouldn't come in. And I was like, Katy Perry, Tink, Katy Perry, Tink. And I did it. I managed to do it all, obviously, but went in, get in now, get in that stable, no treats. And then went to see Katy Perry. So it is a full-time job.
Yeah, no, it is.
And I love seeing all of those things on all of your videos on your Instagram. Make me happy. It just lights me up.
So apart from the horses, you obviously would spill the tea
You
with
can spill
every
the tea,
day.
yeah.
You know, who would you choose to spill the tea with and why?
That's a very good question. And when I saw the question, my first response was Bon Jovi.
Oh,
And I don't
nice.
know why.
Would he just be singing to you like the whole way though, and not drinking tea?
Yeah, probably just like singing,
It's pretty
and I
hard
could just
to do a guitar and tea at the same time, isn't it?
Yeah. So you'd just be drinking the tea.
yeah.
Why Bon
It's
Jovi?
almost like a serenade rather than like a tea moment, isn't it?
I don't know why. I've loved him since I was a kid, and I was thinking and pondering whether it's because it takes me back to when I was younger and the happy times, and because me and my brother used to sit and listen to him, and so it kind of takes me back to that. But then obviously also listening to the other ladies, that I thought about my grandma, because I lost my grandma when I was 18, but I'd love to just have a chat to her and just make sure she's like proud of me, and just to, I don't think I did spend a lot of quality time with her, but I wish I had a lot longer with her.
Yeah.
So I would love to sit with her and have a cup of tea.
I think as a younger person or a child, you often take for granted, don't you, that people are
100%.
always going to be there. And so you maybe don't have the conversations that as an adult you wish you'd had, or that you could tell your younger self to have, because and to appreciate those moments, because they might not always be there.
Yeah, exactly. And I think my mum always says that I was very ambitious as a child, and I'd be doing this and I'd be doing that. And apparently my grandma would be like rolling her eyes. It's like, because I was a little bit like crazy at school. I wasn't the most academic. And I think for her to see me now is what I would probably like
Yeah.
And to say that actually I did do.
You've come good.
Yeah, I've come good and I've
Yeah.
done what I said I'd do. And I would like her to know that. I'm sure she does know.
I think that's a real inspiration though for other people out there who, and for younger listeners who maybe aren't academic, and there is an entire city, world really of people who maybe aren't so academic, who are being told, that they're not going to amount to anything, they're not going to get anywhere, they're not going to be able to do anything. And to hear that you weren't so academic as a child, and
But now
here you are with a business, doing really well, with 2 horses, happy, a house, a mortgage advisor and all, that it doesn't have to be an academic route that you take to do well.
No, absolutely. I think I got two C's in my GCSEs, and I had to fight to get into college. I did go to university and I got a degree, but I had to fight, and I did struggle with exams. And even now, I have to take exams every year, obviously, as a refresher. And I know the answers, but I second guess myself every time.
Yeah.
So I do struggle with that. But like you say, in terms of if I find something that I enjoy and that I'm passionate about, I will do whatever I can to be successful at it.
Yeah. Follow your passion.
Exactly.
And it will always come good.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And everyone's got a passion, haven't they?
Yeah.
Everyone's got something that
They should follow that.
they're good about. Yeah, that they're good at. Yeah. One thing that I'm really, really good at. You know what it is, don't you? Yeah, it's the only thing I'm good at. So, it's got to be one thing. It is my passion. I am good at it. I've made this cup of tea, haven't I? Claire's halfway through it.
Yeah.
She's loving it.
She trot a donkey on that.
Yeah. Well, I didn't add the milk. You added the milk on yours. So, that's your own fault.
Yeah,
I did say that was a bit dark for you.
Yeah.
But you said, no, that was fine.
Yeah.
So,
People pleaser.
Yep, that was poor choice on your part. I added just the right amount of milk. Anyway, if you were going to make...
I added your milk.
I know. And because my perfect colour. But I did say to you that was a bit strong for you, didn't I?
Ask Katie the question.
Katie.
I'm too scared to answer.
Just have a little look at my cup of tea, Katie. That's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah.
How would you make the perfect cup of tea?
So it's obviously got to be Yorkshire tea for a start. And so you put your tea in, I put my sugar in, I put my water in, and then I leave it for a little bit. And then I get the milk, put the milk in, leave it a little bit longer, stir it round, squeeze it out, and then all is good in the world. Sorry
it's
about
all
that.
good in your world, Katie.
I am on fire today.
Well, yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's just amazing.
It's all right. It's okay. It's okay. We'll end it there.
I'm sure that you're very good as well.
I am very good.
Yeah. I'm
Positive psychology.
Yeah.
Positive psychology.
It's all right.
Katie,
It's
you've
okay.
been an amazing guest. You are welcome back anytime.
Yeah.
Thank you
We've still
so
got some
much.
energy healers in the building, so I'll be fine. It's lovely to have you with us
Thank
today.
you so much.
for having me.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yay.